Okay, welcome everyone to our first video interview of Mindfulness and Psychotherapy. Today we have a teacher, a thinker, a futurist named Howard Rheingold. Howard's been writing about our online collaborations, our interaction with the online world for years now, and how it changes the world. And he's recently authored the book Net Smart, How to Thrive Online. So welcome, Howard.
Great to be here.
So I have a couple questions for you. At this point, many of us regularly interact with different social media, whether it's Facebook or Twitter or LinkedIn or Pinterest or all the various ones that are popping up all over the world now and in our daily lives. So give us a brief history, since we have the man here. Give us a brief history of social media and your thoughts on the opportunities and pitfalls of it.
Oh boy, well, it's impossible to give a brief history because it's much longer than most people think. A lot of people think it started with Facebook. I actually wrote the first article on virtual communities in 1987. I had joined the Well in 1985. There were bulletin board systems all over in the early 1980s. ARPANET went back to the late 1960s. The Plato system went back even earlier. So there have been people who have been experimenting with computer-mediated communication for a very long time, and there have been a significant number of people online for a long time. It's just that the web, by creating an easy-to-use interface, brought a whole lot of other people in. And now, of course, I think that are approaching 3 billion internet
Wow.
accounts, 5 billion mobile phones in the world. So this is part of the landscape, and it's moved so quickly that our educational institutions certainly haven't kept up. And I know that you're concerned with mindfulness, and I think we can see the collision between our norms of attention and social media every day. Pew Internet and American Life survey revealed that 1 in 6 Americans have admitted to bumping into something or someone while walking down the street,
Yeah, I think that's even happened to
texting.
me.
And I think we've seen that many people have seen that video from a mall security camera of a young woman who fell into a fountain while texting. So
Wow.
that's part of it. But it's your child trying to talk to you while you are looking at your BlackBerry.
Mhm.
There are all of the cute cat videos you can watch while you're supposed to be getting something done online. There are a lot of different calls to our attention that these media really submit us to. And I believe that while social media afford distraction, they do not compel it. That the critical uncertainty is whether you manage your own attention at all. And I think that's where mindfulness comes in. So I think that the good news from anybody who practices any kind of mindfulness practice is that any kind of thinking about what you're thinking or where your awareness is going or what you're paying attention to is infinitely better than not being aware of it at all. So in that SMART, I talk about 5 essential literacies: attention, participation, collaboration, crap detection, and network know-how. Each of these different literacies combine skills for encoding and decoding in those media, but also a social element that enables people to use these skills in concert with others. And I think that's the most exciting part of the media today, is that these are not media in which people passively consume the culture that's created by others. This is a participatory culture in which individuals are active and can create the culture. And I think for both the empowerment of an individual, in order to survive and to succeed today, you need to understand how these work, but also for the good of the commons. The best way, and I think the only way we can improve the quality of life online and information online, is to improve the ability of people to tell good information from bad information
Mhm.
and to participate as good digital citizens.
So, with that said, you mentioned a couple things about, you mentioned the personal aspect of it and the interpersonal aspect of it and also the social aspect of it. Can you give us just a couple quick tips that you would say which would help us? One of the things that you say in your book is help us kind of thrive online or attain digital literacy in some way. But a couple quick tips, that can help us right now as we're interacting with, online social media.
Well, I suggest that people do what educators do, which is to build a personal learning network. So look for people who know what they're talking about and and follow them.
Mm.
You can get an RSS feed from a blog. You can follow people on Twitter. You can use something like Listorious to search for Twitter lists in which people have made lists of people who are concerned with education or mindfulness or parenting or what have you. And pay attention to those people, and the ones that make sense keep on your personal learning network, and the ones that don't give you value for the attention that you put in, take them out of your network. And
Hmm.
after you pay attention to these people, feed them. You have the opportunity to give them tips on information that you know would be useful to them. And once you've made yourself visible and useful to them, you can establish relationships. So I think by looking for like minded people,
Hmm.
paying attention to those people, and then giving them something that you know would be of value to them is a great way to begin establishing relationships online.
I love
And of
that.
course,
Yeah.
yeah,
I was going to say I love that piece about because I have a pretty large Twitter following. When people are able to tell me what would be helpful to them, helps me put out more quality information that they're gonna connect with more. So I think that tip is really wonderful. One last question, Howard, which is since you're kind of a futurist, what do you see as the future of our interaction with social media?
well, I wrote this book because I think the critical uncertainty about whether social media are going to be immensely useful and amplify our intelligence and enable us to build social capital, or whether it's going to be noise and bad information and superficial relationships. I think the critical uncertainty is what people know about how to use these media. The 100 years it took to wire up the world and to build all of these services have culminated in this machine that we all have access to. And whether that machine is going to use us or whether we're going to use it, I think is going to depend on how many people take these tools into their hands and build things together with them. So I think the future is uncertain.
Hmm.
I am not a utopian. I don't think that we're necessarily going to have better brains and better relationships because we have these media. In fact, I think that the potential for degrading our relationships, degrading our awareness is pretty clear to people.
Hmm.
However, I don't think that it is the fault of the technology. I think that it's the fault of our inability or our lag
Hmm.
in picking up on the literacies of how to use the technology. So the good news is that it's not expensive to teach people how to use these media effectively and humanely and mindfully.
Mm. So once again, thank you so much, Howard. Howard Rheingold, author of the recently released book Net Smart, helping us attain more of this digital literacy that he's talking about, and hopefully, moving us toward if we read and interact with it, more of this opportunity to thrive with the social media that we have today. Thank you so much, Howard. Great to
Sure,
have you
my
here.
pleasure. Bye.
Thank you for your good work.